Okay, thank you. Namaste to all. Sarva Gurubhyo Namaha. For next few days, I will use the creation hymn called the Purusha Suktam, which is the most celebrated of the creation hymns. It's also very long, 24 mantras from Krishna Yajurveda, but I will do only portions of it. That way I can cover it over several days. It is said that Vedeshu, as we said, Pranava Sarva Vedeshu, like Om is for all the Vedas, among all the Suktas, Vedeshu Paurusham Suktam, said it is found in all the 5 Vedas, but the lengthiest one is in the Krishna Yajurveda, 24 mantras. We'll do a few verses of that and then go to Bhagavad Gita. हरिः ॐ वेदाहमेदं पुरुषं महान्तम् आदित्यवर्णं तमसस्तु पारे सर्वाणि रूपाणि विचित्य धीरः नामानि कृत्वा अभिवदन्यदास्ते धाता पुरस्तात्यमुदा जहार शक्रप्रविद्वान् प्रदिशश्चतस्रः तमेवं विद्वान् अमृत इह भवति नान्यपन्था अयनाय विद्यते यज्ञेन यज्ञमयजं तदेवाः तानि धर्माणि प्रथमान्यासन् ते हनाकं महिमानः सचन्ते यत्र पूर्वे साध्याः सन्ति देवाः ॐ शान्तिः 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 न्यस्तात्मीयपरं वरप्रदगुरौ वैराग्यभाग्यो ददौ वेदान्तामृतसारवन्तमनघा श्रीश्रीनिवासाद् गुरोः श्रीशैलान्वयकौस्तुभस्य तनयं श्रेयो निधे श्रीनिधेः वन्दे साधुकटाक्षकेलिनिलयं श्रीकृष्णसद्धेशिकम् गीतासु गीता कर्तव्या किमन्यैः शास्त्रविस्तरैः या स्वयं पद्मनाभस्य मुखपद्मात् विनिसृता मलनिर्मोचनं पुंसां जलस्नानं दिने दिने सकृद्गीताम्बसिस्नानं संसारमलनाशनम्. So we had stopped here at this Ashwatha Sarvavrikshanam Devarishinaam cha Naradaha Gandharvanam Chitraratah Siddhanam Kapilo Munihi. Krishna is very all his greatness in different examples he is giving. So we'll go to the new one. Okay. Uchchai Shravasamashvanam Viddhimam Amrithodbhavam Airavatam Gajendranam Naranancha Naradhipam. So he's talking about during the churning of the cosmic ocean, one white horse came, Uchchai Shravas it is called. Among all the Ashwa, among all the horses, I am Uchchai Shravas. That is the horse which Indra took later. This is supposed to be a white horse. Among all the horses, I am Uchchai Shravas. That came around Amritodbhavam during the churning of the cosmic ocean. Then Airavatam Gajendranam, I am among all the elephants, I am Airavata. That's also a white elephant. It also Indra took that one. And Naranancha Naradhipam. Among people, I am the king. So very straightforward. Uchchai Shravasamashvanam
उच्चैश्रवसमश्वानां
Viddhi Mam Amritodbhavam
विद्धि माममृतोद्भवम्
Airavatam Gajendranam
ऐरावतं गजेन्द्राणां
Naranancha Naradhipam.
नराणां च नराधिपम्.
So then talks about Ayudhanam Aham Vajram Dhenunam Kamadhuk Prajanaschasmi Kandharpaha Sarpanamasmi Vasukihi. Because among all the weapons, that is the Indra's Vajrayudha. That is, I am Vajra among all the Ayudhas, among all the weapons. And among cows or cattle, I am Kamadhuk. That is the Kamadhenu. The Kamadhenu is believed to give anything is asked, she will give. That is Kamadhenu among the cows. And Prajanas Chasmi Kandarpaha. of instincts of procreation. It is the Kandarpa is the Manmata, or the god of love. The god of love is Kandarpa. So for instinct of procreation, I am Kandarpa. And among serpents, Sarpanam Asmi Vasukihi. That's what he is telling. So Ayudhanam Aham Vajram,
आयुधानाम् अहं वज्रं
Dhenunam Asmi Kamadhuk,
धेनूनामस्मि कामधुक्
Prajanaschasmi Kandharpah,
प्रजनश्चास्मि कन्दर्पः
Sarpanam Asmi Vasukihi.
सर्पाणामस्मि वासुकिः
So then Anantaschasmi Naganam Varuno Yadasamaham Pitrinam Aryamachasmi Yama Sanyamatamaham. This is among Nagas. It's another class of serpents. In that I am Ananta. Ananta Shayana, like that is where the Vishnu reclines, Ananta Shayana. So it's among the Nagas, I am Ananta. Then among Varuna, among water creatures, I am Varuna. I am Varuna among water creatures. Okay. Then among ancestor, Pitrinam Aryama Chasmi, I am Aryama. So there are many Pitris noted, just like we have Rudras and Adityas like that. There are list of many Pitris names are there. Among that, Aryama. I am not sure whether it refers to Aryama, but it's probably not. But Aryama, or it could be also. Then Yama Shayamatamaham. I am among the enforcers, the one who enforces dharma or law. I am Yama. The Yama is called Dharmaraya, who enforces law. So Ananta is actually Ananta means endless. Literally, it means endless. It is an infinite snake on which the Lord Vishnu reclines. The Varuna is the water god. So basically, when he says it among water creatures, he considers, because Varuna itself is water, but it's a water god. So a god of water is among creatures of water. That's all. So Aryama is the greatest of 7 axes. There are, just like we have 11 Rudras and 12 Adityas, there are 7 ancestors. Their names are Kavyavaha, Nala, Soma, Yama, Aryama, Agnishvatta, and Brihadastra. Those are the names of 7 ancestors, Pitris. Among that, he says Aryama. Of course, Yama is god of death, and he's supposed to be impartial, and he accords punishment according to whatever we deserve. So there is no discrimination for him, and whoever does for sins they committed in their lives. Like we all see, Dharmaraya was a very sinless person, but because he did that one sin of calling Ashwatthama Hatha Kunjaraha, so he was involved in that. For that, he had to pass through the hell. I told you one time. So he had to see how the hell looks because of that one fault he did. Or it may be also his fault of playing dice, but he did have a small amount of punishment. So Yama doesn't discriminate. He punishes, he delivers his justice as deserving to everyone. Anantaschasmi Naganam
अनन्तश्चास्मि नागानां
Varuno Yadasavaham
वरुणो यादसामहं
Pitrinam Aryama Chasmi
पितॄणामर्यचास्
Aryama Chasmi
अर्यमा चास्मि
Yama Sanyamatamaham.
यमः संयमतामहं
Yeah. As you know that Yudhishthira is supposed to be son of Yama among the elements which that's why it's called Dharmaraya. And in the Mahabharata we see, and many times Yama tests his own son. There are 3 or 4 occasions where he puts his son to test. Prahlaadaschasmi daityanam kalaha kalayatamaham mriganancha mrigendrohum vainateyascha pakshinam. Earlier, he had said Adityana Maham Vishnu. Those are all the children of Aditi. Now, among the children of Diti, they are the Daityas. They are also same father Kashyapa. Among them, I am Prahlada. Hiranyakashipu's son Prahlada. So, among the Daityas, I am Prahlada. And Kalaha Kalayatamaham. Of all the measures, I am the time. Of all measures, I am the time. And Mriganancha Mrigendroham. Among animals, I am Mrigendra, which is a lion. The lion is the king of the forest, right? So, and among all the birds, among Pakshina, Vainateya. So it is it's the Garuda or Vinuta's son, Vainateya. Actually, Vainateya's father is also Kashyapa. Prahlad is also belongs to the same lineage. Um, as we notice that Ananta is where he reclines on, and Garuda is his vehicle. So basically, he's and considers Vainataya as the greatest of the birds. Prahladaschasmi daityanam
प्रह्लादश्चास्मि दैत्यानां
kala kalayatamaham
कालः कलयतामहम्
mriganancha mrigendroham
मृगाणां च मृगेन्द्रोऽहम्
vainateyascha pakshinam.
वैनतेयश्च पक्षिणाम्
Next is pavana pavatamasmi rama shastrabhritamaham jashanam makaraschasmi srotasamasmi janhavi. So here pavana is the wind. The Pavamana Sukta itself is there in Rigveda about wind or breeze. That is among purifiers, I am wind. Nice wind blows and it takes away all the bad smell, right? Dry cleaning. So Pavana Pavata must be just the wind. Then among the wielders of weapon, I am Rama. Ramaha Shastra Bhritamaham. So Rama is in Ramayana, as we see, he was able to kill so many Kara, Dushna, whole army, and even whole rows of trees. He could make it fall, and he has done a lot of effort, a lot of power with use of his shastra. So Jashanam Makaras Chasmi. So among fish, uh, I am crocodile. So among all the water living fish, considers just like Nakshatranam Aham Shashi, like that. Among fish, Jashanam crocodile is not a fish, but it's the most prominent in the company of fish. So, and among rivers, Srotasa must be whatever flows is river. I am Ganga. Janhavi is river Ganga, another name for river Ganga. As you know, Juhnu, actually, that Juhnu, the Rishi had uh, taken her, and then he came out of Rishi. That's why she's called Janhavi. Janhavi. Pavana Pavatamasmi
पवनः पवतामस्मि
Rama Shastrabhritamaham
रामः शस्त्रभृतामहम्
Jashanam Makaraschasmi
जषाणां मकरश्चास्मि
Srotasamasmi Janhavi.
स्रोतसामस्मि जाह्नवी
Sarganam Adirantascha Madhyan Shaivahamarjuna Adhyatma Vidya Vidyanam Vada Pravadatamaham. The Sarganam is among all creation, Sarga is creation. I am the beginning. I am the beginning as well as the middle, as well as the end of all manifestations. When it comes to creation, I am the one, uh, all aspects of it, beginning, middle, and the end. Among all the branches of knowledge, I am Adhyatma Vidya, knowledge of the self. Adhyatma Vidya Vidyana. So I am the knowledge of the self, the supreme self. Um, and among all arguments, Vadaha Pravadatamaham, of arguments and opinions, all those things, I am the logic that leads to truth. I am the logic of the argument. If somebody is debating, I am the logic which leads to truth. It's very interesting. There's an anecdote where It's said that Ramakrishna Paramahamsa was an assembly of his followers or whatever over there. And a logician came, a mathematician came and told Ramakrishna Paramahamsa that I will prove to you there is no God. Because here Ramakrishna Paramahamsa is sitting and glorifying God, and in the presence of all his followers, Samalov comes and says, I will prove it to you. Then he goes on with his argument, this logician, and proves without any doubt, he proves very beautifully that there is no God. After seeing his argument, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa is smiling. He was not upset. Uh, then this logician is a little confused. Yes, how come are you not upset in front of all your followers here? I said, there is no God. He said, you know what? I had little bit doubt whether there is God or no God, but I saw only God in your argument. How beautifully you argued. Vada pravadatamam. I saw God on today. I have no doubt for the existence of God because of you. Sarganam adirantascha
सर्गाणामादिरन्तश्च
madhyam chaivaha arjuna
मद्यं चैवाहमर्जुन
adhyatma vidya vidyanam
अध्यात्मविद्या विद्यानां
vada pravadatamaham
वादप्रवदतामहम्
अक्षराणाम् अकारोऽस्मि द्वन्द्व समासकस्य च अहमेवाक्षयः कालो धाताहं विश्वतो मुखः. So I am A among the letters. Aksharanam akarosmi, A is the first letter. And among all the samasas which form the compound words, I am dvandva samasa. There are so many samasas are there. I am dvandva samasa. Because samasa is in Sanskrit is a system of formation of compound words, like Ramas Chaso, Lakshmanaha, Rama Lakshmana, like things like that. And the three main samasas are Tatpurusha, Bahuvrihi, and Dvandva. Those are the three samasas. The Dvandva elegantly combines two words in a very elegant form. It combines. So he says, I am Dvandva among the samasas, the compound words. Then Ahame Vakshaya Kalo. I am the Kala is of course the time. I am the everlasting time. Aham eva akshayaha kala. I am the everlasting time. And I am the omnipotent. I am the dhata. I am the omnipotent sustainer. I am the sustainer. Dhata is the sustainer. Aksharanam akarosmi
अक्षराणामकारोऽस्मि
dvandva samasikasya cha
द्वन्द्वसामासिकस्य च
ahameva kalo
अहमेवाक्षयः कालो
dhataham vishwato mukaha.
धाताहं विश्वतो मुखः.
So having face in all directions, all encompassing ruler. Mrityu sarvah rachaham udbhavascha bhavishyatam kirti shrir vakcha narinam smritir medha ritik kshamam. So I am the death and destroyer of all. Mrityu sarvah rachaham. I hara for all of them, I destroy all of them. And I am the origin of beings. Udbhavaha cha bhavishyatam. I am the origin of the beings yet to be born. So everything is coming forth from him. So I am the origin of anything to be born. And I am fame, I am fortune, I am eloquence, memory, intelligence, firmness, and forgiveness. These are the things in women. I am the one in women. I am the fame, I am fortune, eloquence, memory, intelligence, firmness, and forgiveness. That is why I was telling when we said Papa Yoneha, I said, why would Krishna be saying all these things about women if it is so much? So that is that's not a right translation there. So it's not an adjective, it's a separate category. So Mrityu Sarva Haraschaham
मृत्युः सर्वहरश्चाहम्
Udbhavascha Bhavishyatam
उद्भवश्च भविष्यताम्
कीर्तिश्रीर्वाक् च नारीणाम्
कीर्तिर्श्रीवाक् च नारीणाम्
स्मृतिर्मेधा धृतिक्षमा
स्मृतिर्मेधा धृतिक्षमा
बृहत्साम तथा साम्नां गायत्री छन्दसामहम् मासानां मार्गशीर्षोऽहं ऋतूनां कुसुमाकरः. Earlier he had told among Vedas, I am Samaveda. Within Samaveda, there are several parts of Samaveda. He says, I am the Brihat Sama. Of the hymns of the Samaveda, I am those that uniquely govern the mind. Brihat Sama is more governing the mind. So, Ritanta Swama, different Samas are there. I am the Brihat Sama. So among the poetic meter, Chandasam is poetic meter, Aham Gayatri. I am the Gayatri Chandas. Gayatri Chandas is 8 syllables, 3 lines. So altogether 24. Yeah. Whereas Anushtup is 8 syllables, 4 lines. That is called Anushtup or Shloka meter. Whereas Gayatri is 8 syllables, 3 lines. Like this famous Gayatri mantra is like that. In fact, Rigveda itself starts Agnihi Mele Purohitam Yagnasya Deva Ritvijam Hota Aram Ratnadhatamam. That's all in the Gayatri meter. And the Gayatri meter is one of the most used meters in the Vedas. Earlier, that was the more dominant meter. Later on, in all the other literature, Shloka meter, that is one more line was added. That's what happened. So among all the poetic meters, I am Gayatri. Then Masanam Margashirshoham. Among 12 months, he says is the Margashirsha month. The Margashirsha month is, depending on which system of calendar you use, the Indian standard calendar, which nobody uses, is November 21st to December 21st, because it is adjusted to the modern times. Because as we know that winter solstice is on December 21st, so Margashirsha month, irrespective of how we think, is the month just prior to the winter solstice. That is, winter solstice is beginning of Uttarayana. So this is the month which culminates into Uttarayana. In our more traditional usage, we say that Margashirsha, like in southern India and in Tamil calendar and Kannada also, it's called Dhanurmasa, starts on December 15 and ends on January 14, and then the Uttarayana starts. So it doesn't matter how we fix it. Margashirsha is the month preceding or ending of which Uttarayana starts. So basically, that is the last month of the Dakshinayana. Because when you look at for the Devas, Dakshinayana is the night time. Uttarayana is the daytime, it's the dawn. So this is at the junction of the day, of the night and day. That is the early, like a Brahmi Muhurta, we call it. It is the dawn of New Year, or Uttarayana, I mean. Dawn of Uttarayana. So that is why it is considered, after that, the day, length of the day keeps on increasing. It is considered that in our own day and night, Brahmi Muhurta is considered as the most sacred time in a given day, like around 3 a.m. or so, something like that. If you extend the same thing for the day scale for the Devas, it will be a month just before the beginning of Uttarayana. So that's why it is considered as the Margashirsha. And as we know that it's very special, especially in southern parts of India, Tamil Nadu as well as in Karnataka, Dhanurmasa, there's different music festival happens in, and also there is Tirupavai for Tiruvampavai. It's every whole month it is celebrated. So Margashirsha is very special, and interestingly here it falls the same time when there is Christmas. So in a way, I used to tell children that Krishna's favorite time is Christmas and Rutunam Kusumakara is Easter. So Easter, those are the two children play a lot. They have a lot of things for children, Easter bunnies and egg hunt. And so Krishna's favorite time is Christmas and Easter. Used to tell children. So, Rutunam Kusumakaraha is the flower bearing season. Brihatsama Tata Samnam
बृहत्सामत्ततासाम्नां
Gayatri Chandasamaham
गायत्री छन्दसामहम्
Masanam Margashirshoham
मासानां मार्गशीर्षोऽर्हम्
Rutunam Kusumakaraha.
ऋतूनां कुसुमाकरः.
Even if we take it like Margashirsha is when Gita was taught, Margashirsha Vishnu Sahasranama was taught. Those two are given a lot of importance in our culture, right? Gayam Gita Nama Sahasram, that Shankaracharya was telling like that. So both of them happened in this month, Margashirsha. Okay, then Dhyutam Chalayatamasmi Tejasvinamaham Jayosmi Vyavasayosmi Sattvam Sattvatamaham. So among gambling, among all deception, Chalayata is all the cheating, deceptions, tricking, things like that. Among that, I am gambling. Pyutam Chalayata, among all deceptions, I am gambling. Because if you think about it, gambling is fair. There is you go to Las Vegas and put in the slot machine, it doesn't discriminate. If you are going to win, you will gain. There is no, everyone has an equal chance at it, whether we win or not, get an equal chance. I don't know how many of you have played in Las Vegas, but one time I went to play and I lost quite a bit of money. I was not winning anything. Put a dime, get a dime back, then put a dollar, and nothing came. So finally, I lost. Then what I did was I changed $100. It's beautiful when you ask for change of $100. It gives you 25 coins, so 400 coins comes metal coins. It made so much noise. Everyone thought I won jackpot. So some people all came running to me thinking that I got jackpot, but I had just changed $100. That's all. So Dyutam Chalayatam the Tejas Vinamaham. So I am the splendor of the splendid. Then Jayosmi Vyavasayosmi. I am the effort for people who succeed. When someone succeeds, I am the effort in that. And I am the Sattvam Sattvatamaham. I am the goodness in the good, or the goodness of the good. And as you said, among deception, gambling is the most honest one, since everyone has an equal chance, right, of winning. Dhyutam Chalayatam
द्यूतं चलयतामस्मि
Tejasvinamaham
तेजस्तेजस्विनामहम्
Jayosmi Vyavasayosmi
जयोऽस्मि व्यवसायोऽस्मि
Sattvam Sattvatamaham.
सत्त्वं सत्त्ववतामहम्.
Only thing is in Dutam, you have to make sure you are not playing against Shakuni. That's all. He will trick. Otherwise, generally, it is fair. Vrishninam Vasudevosmi Pandavanam Dhananjaya Muninam Apyaham Vyasah Kavinam Ushana Kavihi. So Vrishninam Vasudevosmi is called himself. Among Vrishni, he is a Varshneya. Among the clan of Vrishnis, Vasudeva is he is Vasudeva. Pandavanam Dhananjaya. Among Pandavas is Dhananjaya. Among all the Munis, he is Vyasa. And among all the poets, Ushana Kavi. Kavinam Ushana Kavihi. Ushana refers to Shukracharya. But we don't know. We don't have any work of Shukracharya. Maybe he was the Kalidasa. I don't know. But we don't have any of his work. We just have to believe what Krishna is saying. He must have been a great Kavi. Only thing we know about Shukracharya is the story of Kacha and Devayani, right? Shukracharya was the one who knew the Sanjeevani mantra. Other than that, we don't know anything more about it. Vrishninam Vasudevosmi
वृष्णीनां वासुदेवोऽस्मि
Pandavanam Dhananjaya
पाण्डवानां धनञ्जयः
Muninamapyaham Vyasah
मुनीनामप्यहं व्यासः
Kavina Ushana Kavihi.
Kavinamushana kavihi.
Only other thing we know about Shukracharya, someone has one eye damage, you would call him Shukracharya. We'll make fun of him as Shukracharya. As you know that when Vamana went asking for three steps and Shukracharya is the guru for Bali, and he asked Bali, he understood what's going on. After all, he's their guru and he knows that Vamana will trick Bali. He asked him not to give him anything, but Bali was about to give the Rana, they have to, his wife has to fold, he has to pour water, and that's how they give the charity. So Shukracharya goes and tries to block that water flow from it. He enters that pot of vessel and tries to block it. But this Vamana puts his Kushagrasya, the Pavitra, pokes it, and his eye is injured, and then it opens up and the water flows. So he lost one of his eyes in that. Did we do this sloka?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. Okay. Dando tamayatam nitirasmi jigishatam maunan chaivasmi guhyanam gnanam gnanavatamaham. Of all the law enforcement, Danda, she of implementing the he is the punishment. In all the law enforcement, I am the punishment, because that is the ultimate of the law enforcement is punishment. Of the paths of victory, Jigishatam, I am the statesmanship. Of the paths of victory, I am the statesmanship. Nitirasmi Jigishatam. And Maunam Chaivasmi Kushanam, of secrets, I am silence. You don't want to tell something, you have to be silent. Gnanam Gnanamatamam. I am the of the wise, of the Gnanamatas, I am the Gnanam. I am the wisdom of the wise. So the traditional method of law enforcement are first gentle persuasion, offering incentives, manipulating behavior, and if all fails, punishment. That is the ultimate execution of enforcement of punishment. Of this, punishment is perhaps the one that is sure to work. Dandam dasagunam bhavet. They say that if nothing else works, that definitely works. So, a secret is best, of course, when silence is maintained. Dando damayatamasmi
Dando damayatamasmi.
nitirasmi jigishatam
Nitirasmi jigishatam.
maunam chaivasmi guhyanam
Maunam chaivasmi guhyanam.
gnanam gnanavatamaham.
Jnanam jnanavatamaham.
After telling all this, he says that, of course, Yachapi sarvabhutanam bijam tadahamarjuna natadasti vinayasyat maya bhutan characharam. He says, whatever is there, whatever is the source of all beings, I am that. Sarvabhutana yachapi sarvabhutanam, I am that. Nothing animate or inanimate can exist without me. Natadasti vinayasya yasyat maya bhutam characharam. Characharam is animate and inanimate. Chara acharam. So nothing animate or inanimate can exist without me. Yachapi sarva bhutanam
Yachapi sarvabhutanam.
bijam tadaham arjuna
Bijam tadaham arjuna.
natadasti vinayasyat
Na tadasti vina yat syat.
maya bhutam characharam.
Maya bhutam characharam.
Nantosmi mama divyanam vibhutinam parantapa eshu tuddheshata prokto vibhuter vistaro maya. Here he says that, of course, Arjuna, I have told you very simply few things, a brief illustration of my countless attributes. There is no end for it. Na antaha asti mama divyanam. For my all divine attributes, there is vibhutis. There is no end, Arjuna, Parantapa says. So what I have told you is simply a brief illustration. Because It is Eshato Deshata Prokto. Eshat is Uddeshata Prokto. Eshat. It's just for some examples. You should get a glimpse of what I have given you. From this sample, you should figure it out. So, because there is no end to my vibhutis, my divine manifestation, which is vibhuti, is endless. I just gave you some examples. Now you should get a feel for it. You should get a feel by now. Mantosmi mama divyanam
नान्तोऽस्ति मम दिव्यानां
vibhutinam parantapa
विभूतीनां परन्तप
yesha tu deshata proktho
एष तुद्देशतः प्रोक्तो
vibhute vistaro maya.
विभूते विस्तरो मया.
Now he continues the Yadyat Vibhuti Matsattvam Srimadurjitameva Va Tattadeva Vagachatvam Mama Tejansha Sambhavam. So whatever you see, okay, all that is endowed with glory, anything you see glorious here, uh, which is with glory, grace, and grandeur. Yadyat Vibhuti Matsattvam and Srimad, all those things, Urjitam Evava, whatever you see that, like that, Yat Yat Vibhuti Yat, Vibhuti Mat, Sattvam, Srimat, Urjitam, all those things you see, uh, all of them, okay, has sprung from me. Okay, just a small fraction of me, Tej Amsha of my glory, small amount of my Tejas radiance is responsible for that. From a mere flare of my radiance. Not that all my radiance is used up, just a tiny amount of it is used up. It has sprung from it. So whatever you see, which is endowed with glory, grace, and grandeur, has sprung from a mere flare of my radiance. Yadyad vibhuti matsattvam
यद्यद् विभूतिमत्सत्त्वं
श्रीमदूर्जितमेव वा
श्रीमदूर्जितमवेमेव वा
तत्तदेवावगच्छत्वं
तत्तदेवावगच्छत्वं
मम तेजोंश संभवम्.
मम तेजोंश सम्भवम्.
And here he concludes it, telling that Atava bahunaitina king natena tavarjuna vishtavyaham idam kritsnam ekangshena sthito jagate. So, but what? But what use of all this information to you, Arjuna? Just remember this much. Anything, I stand holding the entire cosmos. Ekam Shena Chito Jagat. It is with a fraction of my divine splendor. I'm holding all this. It's just a fraction of my divine splendor. So, but what is the use of all this information, Arjuna? Just remember what I stand, that I stand holding the entire cosmos with a fraction of my divine splendor. Just like he said before, that just a fraction of his radiance is responsible for everything. He's reiterating the same thing here. Athava bahunaitena
अथवा बहुनैतेन
king gnatena tavarjuna
किं ज्ञातेन तवार्जुन
vishtabhyaham krishnam
विष्टभ्याहमिदं कृत्स्नम्
ekanshena sthito jagate.
एकांशेन स्थितो जगत्.
Vishtabhya means supporting. Everything is supported by a small fraction of my divine splendor. So with that, this chapter ends. Let us do that. Om Tat Saditi
ॐ तत्सदिति
Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishadsu
श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु
Brahma Vidyaya Yoga Shastre
ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे
Sri Krishna Arjuna Samvade
श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे
Vibhuti Yogo Nama Dashamodhyayaha.
विभूतियोगो नाम दशमोऽध्यायः.
So that completes the Vibhuti Yoga. Now we can do few verses from the universal forum, Vishwarupa Darshana Yoga. So whatever he told, explained verbally now, in this chapter, he shows literally to him. Arjuna can see all those things, basically, and lot more things, because Arjuna really wanted to see him. So Arjuna uvacha madanugrahaya paramam guhya madhyatma sangitam yatvayoktam vachastena mohoyam vigato mama. Says that we have graciously, with great anugraha, matanugraha, taught me grand spiritual truth. Guhyam adhyatma sangitam. Spiritual, grand spiritual truth of Supreme Self. Right? Your words have cleared my delusion. Now I am really mohoyam vigato mama. They have cleared my doubts. This one, out of the 700 or 701 verses of Bhagavad Gita, every one of them follow the Chandas rule perfectly. Either Anushtup, or Trishtup, or Jagati. The Anushtup, there are 8 syllables, 4 lines. In Trishtup, 11, Jagati, 12. This is the only one verse which is one off. So there is one extra syllable here. Madanagrahaya paramam. So if you count that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Instead of 8, it has 9. This is the only verse like that. We have also seen some versions of it where it does is Madanugrahaya Param. It also means same. Paramam, Param is all fine. When we do that, then the chandas is not broken, it's perfect. So every verse is perfect. But this is more commonly used. This is the way Madanugrahaya Paramam is how most versions are. So we retain that, but we have also seen a version which says Madanugrahaya Param. Okay. So, Arjuna Uvacha
Arjuna uvacha
Madanugrahaya Paramam
Madanugrahaya paramam
Guhya Madhyatma Sangitam
guhyamadhyatma sangitam
Yatvayoktam Vachastena
yatvayoktam vachastena
Mohoyam Vigato Mama
mohoyam vigato mama
Bhavapyayo hi bhutanam shrutau vistarasho maya tvattak kamalapatraksha mahatmamapi chavyayam. He says, you have taught me in great detail about the origin and dissolution of everything, right? That's what he was talking, all those things in great detail. And also about your own imperishable, your own Mahatma, which is avyayam, which is imperishable. It has of imperishable majesty. So he addresses him as Kamala Patraksha, lotus-eyed one. So you have taught me in detail about the origin and dissolution of everything, and also about your own imperishable majesty. Bhavapyayo hi bhutanam
bhavapyayau hi bhutanam
shrutau vistarasho maya
shrutau vistarasho maya
tvattha kamala patraksha
tvattah kamalapatraksha
mahatmyamapi chavyayam.
mahatmyamapi chavyayam.
It's also it's a good quality of someone who listened, feedback what they heard to share it. Only one person who did not give any feedback in Bhagavad Gita is Dhritarashtra. He just heard and sat. Sanjaya gives a lot of feedback, Arjuna gives feedback, but Dhritarashtra gives no feedback. Some very bad students in the class, they just sit and don't do and don't give any feedback like that. Evametat yatha tattvam atmanam parameshvara drashtumichhami te rupam aishwaram purushottama. So then he says, of course, Parameshwara, magnificent Lord, Parameshwara, now I wish to see you with all your divine splendor. Drashtumichhami te rupam. I love to see all your splendor, Aishwaram, all the Purush, of course, Purushottama, he calls them. I want to, just the way you have described, all those things you described, magnificent Lord, I wish to see you with all your divine splendor, just the way you have described it. Evametat yatha tattvam
एवमेतत् यथा तत्त्वम्
atmanam parameshvara
आत्मानं परमेश्वर
drashtumichhami te rupam
द्रष्टुमिच्छामि ते रूपम्
aishwaram purushottama.
ऐश्वरं पुरुषोत्तम.
But then, of course, he pleads, Manyase yedi tachchakyam maya drashtumiti prabho yogeshwara tato me tvam darshaya atmanam avyayam. So if you think, oh, master of yoga, of course, calls him Yogeshwara, master of yoga. If you think I am worthy or I am able to do that, if you think that it is possible, that is shakyam, that is possible for me to see your divine form, then please show it to me. Darshayat manam avyayam, of your endless, imperishable form. Show it to me if you think it is possible for me to see. Manyase yadi tachchakyam
मन्यसे यदि तच्चक्यं
maya drashtumiti prabho
मया द्रष्टुमिति प्रभो
yogeshwara tato me tvam
योगेश्वर ततो मे त्वं
darshayatmanam avyayam.
दर्शयात्मानमव्ययम्.
Now Krishna answers, Sri Bhagavan Vacha, Pashya me partha rupani shatashota sahasrashah nana vidhani divyani nana varna kritini cha. Okay, see, says Krishna. See Arjuna, Pashya me partha rupam. See my form, uh, divine form by the hundreds, Shatashota Sahasrasa, in thousands, hundreds and in thousands of different kind, Nana Vidhani Divyani, Nana of many colors and shapes. Nana Vidhani, Nana Varnani, Nana Vidhani, different colors and different shapes, very colorful. See it, he says. So Sri Bhagavan Uvacha,
श्रीभगवानुवाच
Pashya me partha rupani
पश्य मे पार्थ रूपाणि
Shatashota Sahasrashah
शतशोतसहस्रशः
Nana Vidhani Divyani
नानाविधानि दिव्यानि
Nana Varnakriti cha.
नानावर्णाकृतीनि च.
So Nana Varna Akriti cha. So different forms of different colors and different varieties. Then he takes a few more things for to see. Paschadityan Vasun Rudran Ashvinau Marutastata Bahun Adrishta Purvani Pashyascharjani Bharata. Of course, Bharata refers to Arjuna. He had told about he's the Aditya Namaham Vishnu. So he says, see the Aditya, see, behold, many marvelous things, Nadrishta Purvani, something you have never seen before. Look at all the Adityas, because he had talked about Aditya Nama, you can see all the Adityas in me, the Vasus, Rudran, they talked about Adityas, Vasun, Rudran in chapter 10. Ashwins and Maruts. He had mentioned all those things. You see all of them in me, right? Same this tells Adityas as we taught children of Aditi, then 11 Rudras and Ashwina, Marut, all those things he had talked about in chapter 10. See all of them in me. This has never been seen before. Bahun Adrishta Purvani. This has not been seen before. Pashyadityan Vasun Rudran
पश्यादित्यान् वसून् रुद्रान्
Ashwinau Marutastata
अश्विनौ मरुतस्तथा
Bahunyadrishtapurvani
बहून्यदृष्टपूर्वाणि
Pashyascharjani Bharata.
पश्याश्चर्याणि भारत.
Okay, then one more verse we can do. Here he says, Ihai kastam jagat krishnam pashyadya sacharacharam Mama dehe gudhakesha yachanya drashtumichhasi. So he says, now you can see in my body the assembly of all, the entire universe. Jagat Krishnam is entire, Jagat is universe. You can see the entire universe in me with every animate, sacharacharam, animate and inanimate beings, and whatever else you wish to see, whatever you want to see, you can see here. Mama dehe, in my body, Gudakesha. Yachanya drashtumichasi. Whatever you like to see, you can see that all. Ihaikastam Jagat Krishnam
इहैकस्तं जगत्कृत्स्नं
Pashyadya Sacharacharam
पश्याद्य सचराचरम्
Mama dehe Gudakesha
मम देहे गुडाकेश
Yachanya drashtumichasi.
यच्चान्यद्द्रष्टुमिच्छसि.
So we stop here. Maybe one more verse I will do, then I will stop. That way it's न तु मां शक्यसे द्रष्टुम् अनेनैव स्वचक्षुषा दिव्यं ददामि ते चक्षुः पश्य मे योगमैश्वरम्. Krishna knows that Arjuna cannot see. Although he is telling, see this, he is telling, he also knows he cannot see. न तु मां शक्यसे द्रष्टुम्. You are not able to see me. Because until I give you, I will grant you the divine vision. Divyan dadami te chakshuhu. You won't be able to see my universal form. So I grant you that vision. Without that, otherwise, anenaiva sachakshusha, of your own eye, you cannot see these things. You have to wear that 3D glass, otherwise you don't see that. Right? He says that. So I grant you divine vision. Divyam dadami te chakshuhu. Otherwise, you won't be able to see any universal form. Natu mam shakyase drashtum
न तु मां शक्यसे द्रष्टुम्
anenaiva svachakszusha
अनेनैव स्वचक्षुषा
divyam dadami te chakshuhu
दिव्यं ददामि ते चक्षुः
pashya me yogamaishwaram.
पश्य मे योगमैश्वरम्.
So you can see my universal form. I will stop here, and Hari wants to add any comment, any highlight, any questions of any? No.
So one of the interesting things in this chapter is that when Krishna talks about the vibhuti, the best of everything. So even something which is supposedly insignificant or supposedly not so important, like say deception. Among deception, he says, I am gambling, right? So here you'll be wondering that so many things are all like among the Adityas or Vishnu, among the Rudras is this, among the all the birds is Garuda and so on, which are very noble and exalted. But even in a very ordinary thing, the best of that, I think that kind of complete gamut is traversed in this chapter, which is very nice.
Yeah, that's very nice. That means he was fully involved in life. He was not every aspect of it. So there is something great in everything, basically. Even among thieves, some thieves are greater than the other thieves. They have their own higher principles, higher morals. He probably would have told all those things. I am thief. I am the thief, good thief, because he was like that. Anupama, yeah.
Yeah. He says Pandavanam Dhananjayaha. I'm a bit surprised why he wouldn't say Yudhishthira, because Yudhishthira was like the perfect person who never sinned, and he was the one who finally went to Swarga, right?
Well,
No, Yudhishthira is the main cause of the war in the first place. If he was not so stupid, there would have been no war. So I think Bhima and Arjuna are far superior characters in the Mahabharata. But it's interesting, what you say is very right. In the end, he goes to Swarga. So that it has been a kind of enigma for me. Because all through the characters of Draupadi and Bhima and Arjuna are far superior to Yudhishthira. Although he's a good person, he's a theory master. He's good in answering all the questions about Dharma. But when it comes to real situation, then the Dyuta. So if you remember in the Mahabharata, there is a Dyuta that happens. when Draupadi is humiliated. The strange thing is there is another second innings of the Dyuta, which again Yudhishthira accepts. See, the first time you are, it's a mistake, you are foolish, you are whatever, you don't know the reality. But the second time he accepts and goes and loses, and then loses the entire kingdom. So that is a real stupidity. So I think for some reason we have given too much of clean shit to Bhishma, Drona, and
Yeah,
Yudhishthira.
Bhishma, yeah,
So
that's right. Yeah.
maybe I think when we look at the text when you look at it thoroughly, somehow they are not so worthy of that kind of clean. They are good, definitely good people. There is no doubt about it. But in the larger analysis, I think definitely Arjuna, Bhima, uh, they come out stronger.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Little bit of a
Okay,
sincere.
but there is a background story about why Yudhishthira accepts to play uh, every time, gamble every time. Actually, he would have given a
Correct.
Guru Dakshina, right?
Yes, no. The thing is, there is a background story. Also, if you look at the characters, I mean, of course, the way, the beauty of the Mahabharata itself is all these characters are remarkable. As characters, they are remarkable. So, yeah, he makes a promise that, oh, I will never say no to anybody, and I will, whatever, as part of the Kshatriya Dharma, I will go and gamble. But Krishna also makes a promise to Arjuna and Duryodhana that he will not lift a weapon. But the moment that the situation arises, he is very happy to break any of the promises. In the sense, he is not stuck to something. Whereas other people are all what we can call as like pratigna shuras. They have made some great pratignas. They have made some great promises, and they are, for them, sticking to their promise is more important than the goodness of the kingdom, goodness of themselves. So it that becomes a kind of limited. Like Bhishma, for example, for a particular reason, he said, "I will be as a bachelor and I will not have children," and so on. But for the sake of Shantanu getting married to Satyavati. But when the same Satyavati requests him later on that, see, all the people are dead and you have to have progeny for the next generation, he's like, no, I had made a promise that's more important to me than kingdom and everything else. So then personal ego takes precedence over other things. Anyway,
True, yeah.
yeah, you had a question, Magaramji.
They were
Yeah,
not gunatitas, basically.
Yeah,
Got
yeah.
stuck in the sattva guna. Yeah, I think Vagaram.
no, but you had a point on Yudhishthira, right? My question is, if again, if the whole essence is to do the work and not, I'm not, I don't know much about the Kshatriya Dharma, about the gambling part, but wouldn't it be contradictory where he didn't do the work, like, protecting his brothers or Draupadi, which would essentially mean that he's not worthy of even going to heaven because he didn't do the work.
Correct. No. The thing is, what happens is, see, when the case of Yudhishthira, when we look at the epic, no doubt he's a very good, noble person. He has, if you look at, so what happens is now there are some prime ministers and presidents who are wartime presidents or wartime prime ministers who are very good during war. But there are some who are very good, peacetime presidents or prime ministers, right? When everything is peaceful, they are very good leaders. They are able to manage the country well. They are able to improve the economy and so on. But the moment there is a war, they may fail. So Yudhishthira is this kind of ideal peacetime president. Everything is going well, then he is a noble person. He is above board. He is honest. He is sympathetic towards the citizens and so on. But he is not a wartime general. So that way, if we see in some of the critical moments, he is not able to deal with it. Whereas he personally is above board. Personally, he is very honest, and his intention is not to harm anybody. So even when they're in the forest, the four brothers who are all stronger than him, they have great regard for him because they know that he's not a bad person. It's a temporary moment of insanity that he goes and gambles, and in that heat of gambling, it's very difficult to retain senses.
Also, it's interesting. Krishna says Pandavanam Dhananjayaha, because one of the quality of these kings is they have to create wealth. See, everybody is saying Kamala Harris will win because Dow Jones is doing so good, right? So economy and S&P 500, everything is hitting the sky. So Dhananjaya is very important for a ruler. Yudhishthira will probably will only gamble and lose also, not create so much wealth. Also, there was a lot of discussions came how he could bet Draupadi, right? That Draupadi herself asked, after you had lost yourself, how could you have bet me? Nobody is able to answer. She asked Bhishma. He could not answer that. Ask Yudhishthira, she says. But someone who has lost himself, how can he lose anything else? So, anybody else? It's interesting. Also, diplomacy, right? Arjuna is standing right in front of him. Pandavanam Nakulaha. It also doesn't sound very right. And Arjuna is praising him so much.
Yeah.
Then he says, Pandavanam Nakulahar. Like that.
Bhima, somebody else, yeah.
Somebody else. It won't be very good.
And even for the Chandas, Dhananjaya suits better actually.
Yes.
No, of course, you can choose. You
I'm
could have
just kidding.
chosen some other word, but I think, no, for example, even later on, right, when in the 16th chapter he says, Arjuna, don't worry, you have all the Daivi
Divine
Sampat,
qualities.
you are the
Daivi,
divine
yeah.
qualities. So, to some extent, he has to boost this fellow's ego
Ego.
and thing. Because, yes, the whole idea is Arjuna has to go and fight now. So, Krishna is very sharp. He will not bother. Tomorrow, if you have to tell Bhima you are the best guy, he will tell. Because for him, he's got a larger vision always. So,
Also, another thing we have to watch when it came to Rama, what we all know Rama as Pitruvakya Paripalana, right? Rama, Maryada Purushottama, Pitruvakya Paripalana. But Krishna says Shastra Britamaham. He's a Kshatriya. What is important is wielding of weapons, right? He did not talk about the other qualities which we all usually Rama means of course he was a great with archer, but we always don't think of him like that, right? We always think of him as Pitruvakya Paripalana, Maryada Purushottam, things like that. That's also so Krishna is a different character in our heritage. He doesn't fall into our formulas. I think there are no other questions we can.
I just have one comment. Good evening, sir. Regarding this chapter 10, if we have to go in any Vada Samvada contest, right? Any debate, if they ask you what is the best of the bestest, right?
Yeah.
Or the worst of the worstest, this is the chapter to go for after that, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's very
yeah,
interesting.
basically that's what he's kind of collected all the things,
Yes.
the best of the best, the high points. So sometimes, even for a very practical thing, right? It's so helpful when somebody tells, especially for example, when I want to know a new author, right? So I want to read some works of Frederick Fawcett or Arthur Haley or something. Then I'll ask somebody who has read all the novels and say, okay, tell me like one or two of his best works. Then I can start, and then really, if I really like this author, I can read all the books. But at least if I want to have an access to some work, I usually ask my friends, what is the best? You tell me two novels or some Masti Venkatesh Iyengar, tell me 5 best short stories of his. I will read that first.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So like that, we really benefit from knowing the high points.
Yes, true. Thank you. Yeah, wonderful.
Especially if you want them to follow. If you don't want to someone to like Master Venkateshankar, then give the worst one. So you won't. Oh, Ishtena, so you won't read anymore. Like that. It is the other way also you can do, right? Some people do that. They will show one. It's a great piece of archaeology found this quite the whole little bit of a worn out one porcelain thing. They say this is the great thing we saw in this country. So actually, we think is that all they found? Like that. In other words, you can put down some place like that. This is maybe I should tell this joke.
So that's what happens sometimes when we go to the US, right? When
Yeah.
US is a far more younger culture compared to ours. So they'll say, "Oh, this is a very ancient 350-year-old artifact,"
Yeah.
and there'll be in our houses there'll be some 350-year-old artifacts.
Yeah.
So it's not a big deal at all for somebody from India or like a older part of the world, like China or something. Whereas in the US, 300 years is like really very old. So that perspective may also make the difference.
And the other way also works. If you don't want to promote something, this is maybe I can take 2 minutes and tell. There is one famous East scientist called Fred Sherman. He was consultant for a company of Shanta or Reddy Labs or something, or Shanta Labs in Hyderabad. Okay, so he was a consultant, and they asked him, "We want to have someone Desi. Okay, it's also good to have some Indian origin person working here in America, whom you can recommend." And he works in a great institute. Dr. Fred Sherman is a great scientist. He knows fantastic East scientists from Indian origin. But he gave them the worst possible person as the, you can use this person as the consultant. I don't want to tell the name, but I want to use this person as the consultant. So what that Reddy lab thinks in, or Santa lab in Hyderabad thinks, this is the quality of Indian scientists in America of Indian origin. He knows very well, but for some reason he wanted to keep his position safe. So this is the best person I could find for you. And he found the worst person for me. So exactly opposite of what Krishna did in chapter 10. Dr. Sharman did. Anyway, so too much of gossip. That's not good. Talk ill of others. Let's stop here. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् यथो धर्मस्ततः कृष्णः यतः कृष्ण तथो जयः. Thank you all. See you on Sunday.
Thank you. Thank you. Good night.